Hello, we're back for Apidays Interface. I hope you had a good lunch or dinner, depending on where you are. We will continue this API platform and ecosystem track on the business side, and we'll focus for the next 2 hours on API product and API monetization. And as a first speaker, we will have Rafael Cardoso, who is solution architect at Sensedia, but who will talk about an API first approach to enable API monetization. So API first, API monetization, this is what we will have together. And for that, we have Rafael. Hello, Rafael. How are you doing?
Thank you. So I'm doing very, very good. I'm very happy to be here. And let's talk about API first and how can we use this approach to enable API monetization. So let's start introducing myself. My name is Rafael. I've been working with development, with architecture, integrating systems, migrating databases, and so on for more than 20 years. Today, I'm working in the Sensedia company, which is a company focused on integrations, on APIs, and in a good platform for APIs management. So please feel free to contact me by email, to contact me by LinkedIn or other social medias. Okay, I will be very happy to take a conversation. And today we are here to talk about technologies, methodologies, and so on. So let's start. I'd like to start by this diagram here. So looking for this diagram, I'm trying to give you an overview. So what are the challenges we have to make integrations? Okay, usually we are working in companies and in systems that are composed by very large pieces. We have several kind of databases. Probably we'll be handling legacy systems, different services. Sometimes we'll be working in a cloud basis. Sometimes we'll be working on premises basis. So what are the challenges thinking in terms of integration? Do you need to uh, use partners to enable our integrations? If it's necessary to use partner systems, partner assistance, is it easy to me to provide him an onboarding to integration? Is it easy for him to integrate it with my system? Do I have control of this ecosystem? Is it systems able, are these systems able to scale up, to attend some needs in terms of more calls, more processing, and so on? Or even other challenges. Am I able to understand the business? Do I have a clear business model? So during these challenges, we need to deliver integrations. In the end of the day, we need to deliver APIs. So here we will talk about APIs as a product, and how to monetize these APIs. And use an API first, we can solve these challenges. And what will be the benefits of using API first, and how it will help us to solve this challenge? It will help us to increase the time to market. It will help us to have a better partner integration. We can easily make some experimentation, some tests, some validations, and have a better API product. Let's see how is it possible and what is the proposal of API first. So, what is API first? Why should I use it? In a very short answer, I can say that API first means let's start by designing and writing the documentation of an API before any kind of development. We don't need to start implementing something, because API first will guide us in a way that, calm down, let's first design what we need. Let's first understand our business. Let's first write a good documentation. In an opposite way, let's say that we could start by coding, okay? Code first. Usually, following this model, we could place some piece of code and we can start connecting some systems. We can make some validations of integrations, and it will be growing. And now, to make it possible to monetize these applications we have built, we need to create APIs. Okay, but we started by the code, no problem. But now, will be my APIs using a correct approach, the right security patterns and everything, or it will be just a proxy for my backend operations? So let's think first in the APIs. Let's understand that when writing this design and when writing this documentation, we can have a clear understanding of all the process, of all the steps we need to have a good APIs. And remember, we are talking here about having API as a product. Okay, so it's even more important that this API design should be done carefully with all the details correctly analyzed. And how can we do that? We have three major principles we should follow. First of all, your API is your first interface for your application. Okay, Rafael, but I need to also expose some operations through my mobile app, through my web application, and so on. And no problem. But after all these channels, we need an API. The API will be the entry point to access those operations in the back end, to access the resources in the back end. So starting by the API design, we can ensure that even yours clients consuming the APIs for integrations, or your own team writing some web applications or some mobile applications, will be using a well-designed API. And doing that, we can say that API comes before the implementation. As I said, let's take care about our APIs. Let's design the best API as possible. And when thinking in documentation, we need to write a good documentation. We need to make an API which can be self-described. You need to understand the behavior of your API just reading the documentation from top to bottom. It's important that this documentation should be clear. This documentation should be complete. It should be self-described. But we can exercise some scenarios to understand how can we do it in our development process. Okay, so using this approach, we need to be near to the stakeholders. Why? We are thinking in API as a product, remember? So the stakeholders should be involved. We need to be working in a way that the businessman, the manager, the developers, all the people, business team, developers, managers, should be using this mindset to create our product. Our product will be an API. Let's involve these people. Let's consulting them to write the documentation, to create the design, and all people involved working with this mindset. Again, before starting the code, we are creating our products. So it will give us some benefits. I can reduce the cost, I can reduce the risks, I can improve the experience of the developer which will be consuming this API. Because we need to remember that if I have an API which will be my product, I want this API to be more easy and more flexible as possible to the developer, which will be coding, which will be invoking this API. And let's work it in a way that is collaboratively approach. It can make us a division of responsibility. It allows a division of responsibility. We can have teams working in parallel, and we can start thinking in reusability. Okay, so we are thinking in APIs as a product. I need to take care of, can I reuse some method or some research, some operation that I've already defined? It will be necessary to my developer to create a new operation that is already in place just for a small modification, for a small changing. Let's think about it. Let's put it on the paper. Let's take this time to build the best design, okay? And it will be done by developer team, business team, managers, and so on. Okay, so now we need to think in terms of how to what are the good practices when modeling an API? Okay, there are several strategies, there are several ways to do a good API model. Of course, I like to use domain-driven design. Okay, it's not the only one, but it helps us to understand our business and to create API models that are using the correct, the proper view of our domains. Let me explain. First of all, when you are using domain-driven design, we need to ensure that all people involved will be using the same language. And here, language, I'm not saying, oh, the programming language. No, 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 no. It's the language we use to talk every day. We need to use the same words and the same expression to describe our business process, our business data, our business entities. We need to ensure that everyone is using the same language, and we need to ensure that we have bounded context. Okay, so we need to take our business, our project, our idea of a solution, and we need to split it in small pieces. And each piece we can call it as a domain, or a module vision, let's say, and splitting a domain, and after that splitting it in subdomains, and it will be clarifying for us how to organize this information, how can it be connected to a good API design. Let's understand the data, understand the entities, understand the model. And once you have a domain model, we can use it to create the API design. I have an hypothetical example here just to trying to clarify these concepts of how can I use domain-driven design on this approach. So here, let's suppose we have some domains. I have an area here where the customer has its data, its entities. I have agreement, I have account, I have a product. So once I can split this information and clarify what entity and what are the relations between these entities, I can start thinking in the best way to organize my API. So once I have this domains view, I can move to an API view. Of course, there are several strategies here we can take, but it will not be always one by one, one for one. But a general idea is to clarify the understanding, and after that, write the API design and write the API documentation. So, moving on, we are talking about monetization. Okay, So if my API will be my product, I have to, during this process of business understanding and during this process of API design, we are talking about API first, we can identify what will be the monetization plan. There are several strategies to monetize an API. We can use subscription plans. We can use pay per transaction. Of course, there are ways where the monetization is not directly connected to API consumption. I can have apps. Again, I can have mobile apps. I can have web apps that are consuming APIs. But in the end of the day, it is just a way to access data, to access resources, and I'm selling this data, I'm selling this resource. Okay, but here, in again, another hypothetical view, let's suppose we wanna monetize our APIs and we will have billing plans, separated billing plans, and we want to monetize based on these different plans. So API first, applied on such context, will be helping us again. Because if I using all these steps to carefully creating, designing, writing documentation, when I'm here to split my plans and to understand how my APIs will work under different billing plan, I'm guaranteeing standardization. Is my API following a standard? Is it consistent? Or each time a developer moves from a plan to another, he needs to change the code? He needs to learn something new because it was not very clear in the documentation that a new plan can use different error handling, for instance. So take an API first will ensure that everything will work under a standard, will be consistent, and that we can reuse all the APIs that are already in place to extend new behaviors, to extend the new operations and new possibilities. So let's suppose here in this example, I have 3 billion plans. One is free with a limited amount of counts per month, a very basic throughput, rate limited that is 1 transaction per second. After that, I can use a standard plan, which probably I need to pay for it. It gives me more calls. It gives me a better rate limit. It gives me access to an analytic report or something like that. And even a better plan, which gives me unlimited calls, a better rate limit, analytics, and even support services. Okay, I have designed this plan. How can I implement it? How can I document it in an easy way? When I'm calling an API as a developer, I don't want it to receive a documentation in PDF file with 100 pages to understand all the details and everything I need to know to make use of these plans. It should be easy and should be very clear in the API portal. The API portal is to receive your developer and say him, man, here is your plans. It's easy to understand. Do you want to start a test right now? Just click this button. You will be redirected to a sandbox area. You can play with this API in a very easy way. So you need to have API portal and how it connects to the API first approach. When I'm designing my API, I need to remember, do I have all the tools I need? My infrastructure is designed to receive these APIs I'm designing? Is it possible to scale this infrastructure? Maybe I need to move to another providers, to another strategy. When implementing this API, do I have a good tool to ensure security? Do I have a tool to ensure that I can create these billing plans in those policies in an easy way? So, thinking from the beginning, we can plan not only the code, we can plan everything around. So, again, do I have a tool to provide me a good API portal, a good developer experience? So that's important to be clear here. When your API is your product, we need to plan. You need to have much more. You need to take care of this design, and you need to make the life of the developers most easy as possible. So good documentation, good developer portal, good standardization, and make it clear for the developer how to use your APIs and how to reuse your APIs. So, what tools can we use during this process? Uh, let's talk a little bit about documentation, okay? Or usually, I prefer to use an open API specification. There are several ways to make the documentation of an API, but use an open API specification, you have some advantages. First of all, open API is a standard. Everyone around the world knows how to handle it, knows how to use it. Important that open API allows me to describe my API. Remember, it should be self-described, and it can be very easy to understand by a human. It's human readable. I can read the documentation and understand the documentation, but it's also useful for automation tools. I can apply this documentation over an automation tool, and it's easy to play around with this definition. It's easy to make some tests. It's easy to make some mocks, to validate, to connect it with my background systems. So I really recommend that we use an open API specification. We use Swagger Editor. These are tools to help us in this journey. There are also tools for Monkey. I can use an API first approach. I can easily do some mocks and understand if my first idea, my original idea is good for the developer or maybe not so good. I don't know. I can use Postman to run some validations. I can use the SoapUI. I can also use Sensedia for this action, especially when thinking about API management. Is it easy to have a life cycle view of all my APIs in an integrated tool? We have to use the best tools to have the best APIs, especially when the APIs are my products. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about Sensedia. Sensedia is a Brazilian company. We are specialized in APIs and microservices, governance. We are working also with event-driven architectures, service mesh, and so on. We have a modern integration platform, and we are specialized in this integration world, especially using APIs. We also have a good product for open finance ecosystem and also the consulting services to help you in architecture, to help you in development, and to help you creating good integrations, good APIs. Okay, we are recognized as leader on global API strategy and also a stronger performer by Forrester. We have a global presence in the Americas, United States, Canada, Europe, and also Africa. So please, you can contact us to have more details. Okay. And that's what I have for today. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'm really glad to be here. Please contact me on LinkedIn, contact me in other social medias. And also, please, you can access, we have some QR codes here. You can access Sensedia web page to know more about this subject and other subjects. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Rafael. We reached the time we had together, but you told us that it would be exact on time, 25 minutes. Thank you very much for explaining all about this API monetization. And we look forward to having you in another conference.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.